Hello, this is your WiseAss astrologer, and we are going to talk about the astrology of George and Jerry. No, not George Costanza and Jerry Seinfeld. I'm talking about George Santos and gerrymandering. Jerry Seinfeld says, "Hey, what's the deal with George Santos claiming to be a Jew from Long Island? I'm actually a Jew from Long Island, and some people apparently think that's what gave me a lucky break. But I don't think that's it. It's not being a Jew from Long Island that made me so lucky. It's because I, Jerry Seinfeld, have Jupiter in the sign of Gemini in my natal chart. And George Santos also has Jupiter in Gemini in his natal chart. So, wise-ass astrologer, tell us about Jupiter in Gemini and luck and gerrymandering." Okay, Jerry Seinfeld, I will tell both you and George that Jupiter is a planet of luck, growth, and opportunities. And the sign that Jupiter is in when we are born dictates the style and how we are able to accept our opportunities. And for those who were born when the planet Jupiter was in the sign of Gemini, it's about using your hands to take a little bit from everywhere, rearranging words, information, nomenclature, and random lines in order to see the big picture, changing and moving things around to find opportunities, and being at the right place at the right time to accept random opportunities. So we look at the current planetary transits to our natal placement of Jupiter to find out when and how we can make the most of our opportunities to move forward in life. In early 2022, the state of New York expected to have realigned voting districts for the upcoming election. And in the district that George Santos was the Republican candidate, it was expected that the Democratic candidate, no matter who that was, would win. That's just the way the district was aligned. What the hell did they know about interpreting how the stars were aligned? So George's value to the grand old party was mostly to build up support for them locally. But then the new gerrymandered districts didn't go through, and the lines that ended up being drawn favored a summer of George for all you Seinfeld fans. This happened on May 20th, 2022, when transiting Mercury was retrograde at 1 degree Gemini and conjunct George Santos' natal Jupiter at 0 degrees Gemini. Gemini is Mercury's home sign, and later that day the Sun entered Gemini, joining Mercury in the sky, as it too shined over his natal Jupiter. He tried to expand his horizons and was at the right place at the right time when the lines were being drawn. And as much as people bitch about Mercury retrograde not actively updating and analyzing details, which might have been true in the case of the selection process, it did work out for George Santos when that Mercury retrograde in Gemini was conjunct his natal Jupiter in Gemini, as those arbitrary lines on the map not being updated as expected gave his Jupiter an opportunity. And that is what Jupiter in Gemini is about. When you expand your horizons, you'll be at the right place at the right time. It's not the broad, expansive picture of Jupiter in Sagittarius. It's the little arbitrary random lines drawn with Jupiter in Gemini that gets you where you want to go. Ideas seemingly about nothing on the surface, but you put a different spin on it and see where and how it lands, and where it goes. So George Santos thought, hey, I can spin whatever. I'll reinvent myself as a Jew. I'll just use my Jupiter and Gemini hands and spin the dreidel on the gerrymandered map of Long Island, and if it lands on Gimel, they'll give me the election. It sounds just like an episode of Seinfeld, a TV show that was famously about nothing. Jupiter in Gemini knows that part of politics is listening to people and telling them what they want to hear in order to connect with them. That's how you get elected, and that part obviously George Santos can do. But he's also now learning the bigger lesson of having your Jupiter in Gemini, which is learning how to adapt in order to move forward, and learning on the fly. Unfortunately for George Santos, he's not writing a script for a TV comedy sitcom, where you can create a backstory for your characters, and change their names and have policy ideas about nothing. Now he has to be a show about something. Or next time, they'll vote for George Costanza.